things. Now it is time for the today's Dhamma talk. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent with 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Katancananda hariyasa vinaya hariyokoti bhavikindriyoti. Dear Dhamma friends, for the last 2 days we were taking a particular discourse from the Buddha known as Indriya Bhavana Sutta. That is, you find in the Middle Age sayings, that is Majjhima Nikaya, and message, the Buddha has it to 3 episodes. The very first one is anyone who wishes to develop or cultivate one's own faculties like the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and the mind. There are 3 stages to undergo. The very first stage, the Buddha explained, a commoner, a normal person, already know theoretically what is happening after listening to the teaching of the Buddha. As he is a learned person, theoretically understands, and he or she will understand, will experience or agree with the Buddha whenever eye is going behind the visual object. That happens because that visual object is much agreeable or disagreeable or in a mixture. The Buddha used 3 terms: Uppajjati manapam, uppajjati amanapam, uppajjati manapamana. So whenever it becomes agreeable or disagreeable, mind tends to make stories and fabrication, judgmental, excited. Instead, the learned person would understand that before the mind jumps into the eye and to the visual object, it was in a neutral, sublime, peaceful state. From this peaceful, sublime state, it jumps to the visual object because of its agreeability or disagreeability or the mixture. So, when and where you give a thought, the second thought, on this teaching of the Buddha, you may sometime tends to bring the mind back to the earlier sublime, peaceful, equanimous state, and that is the purpose of teaching of the Buddha. So we try to see, whenever we are doing walking meditation like that, or whenever we are sitting and try to keep the attention into your body posture, you are very knows whenever you are walking and whenever you know you are not sitting, you are not lying down but walking, it's a kind of a peaceful state. It's a kind of a sublime state. It's a kind of a equanimous state. From there, the eye sometimes catch the attention due to visual objects. Soon it goes to seeing. Soon it goes to see the shape or the color of the visual object. You are no more peaceful. You are no more sublime, no more neutral or equanimous, but get engaged with what you have seen. And if it is highly agreeable, you get entangled with too much. If it's highly disagreeable, still the same. Even if it is somewhat agreeable, disagreeable, so much so, it will take you for a ride. And that situation, you can apply to the ear when you are hearing sounds while doing mindful sitting or walking, or the smell, or a taste, or tactile sensation, or thinking, daydreaming, fantasizing, wondering. So it's a good challenge, it's a good radical kind of teaching. Your mind's vulnerability is the accusable part, not the visual object, not the sound, not the smell, not the taste, not the tactile sensation, not the thing upon which you are thinking about. So, the other discipline, besides the Buddha, they try to find fault with the visual objects. They think because of the visual object, my mind start wandering. Or the sound, or the smell, or the taste, or the touch, or thinking. And there the Buddha says, you never take the situation in the correct way, so therefore you are always bound to get irritated due to the agreeability and disagreeability, and you may find fault with yourself, thinking my mind is so weak, vulnerable, and these visual objects, sounds, these things are carrying away. Or sometimes you may directly accusing the visual objects, or sounds, or smell, taste, whatever it may be. So this is the way that you get entangled with whatever that kind of thing happens. Instead, the Buddha says, rather than going extrovert, rather than entangled with the external stimuli, better to bring the attention internal, that your mind is happy to engage with disagreeable and agreeable things rather than this equanimous thing. So, knowing that you develop enough faith, you develop enough energy, enough mindfulness, and knowing whenever it is extrovert, going outwardly, getting entangled with this reasoning, daydreaming, fantasizing, storytelling, fabrication. Instead, what will happen to bring the mind back to the etam santang, etam panidam, yaditam upekka, that is peaceful, that is sublime, that is the equanimous one, that is your sitting posture, that is your walking posture, or the mindful mind. This is the first stage, the first episode. And then the Buddha says, if someone wishes to give a chance, if someone wishes to practice it, if someone is happy to put that into practice, suppose that he or she knows that my mind is not with my walking meditation, not with my sitting meditation, instead it is entangled with visual objects and thinking about the agreeability and disagreeability and so much of reasoning. Leave that situation like that. What are the possibilities to bring that unmindful mind to your posture, to your primary object? So whenever the yogi is looking the situation from that viewpoint, that angle, the giving and encouragement, if you really wish that you are eccentric, you are not mindful, and if you really wish, you can bring the mind back to the primary object, back to the left leg or right leg, or your sitting posture, or your in-breath and out-breath. Just like a winking eye, it's so quickly, so easily, without any problem, you can bring the mind back to the peaceful state. You can bring the mind back to the sublime state. You can bring the mind back to the equanimous position. And the day the yogi understands that situation, he or she will understand mindfulness is more powerful than external visual objects, your happiness with the agreeability and disagreeability, storytelling, fantasizing. They are forceful, but mindfulness is much, much, much powerful than any device. More and more you to observe it, more and more you to reiterate it, redo it, so much so you develop your personality. So much so you develop your well-being. So much so you develop loving kindness to yourself. So much so you develop compassion to yourself. Otherwise, even though you are blaming to the visual objects, even though you are entertaining the agreeability and disagreeability, you are torturing yourself. You are burning yourself. So instead of blaming others as a disciple of Buddha, you better give a try. Whenever you come to know that mind is not in the present moment, not in the posture, not mindful, knowing it is now engaging, seeing, just like winking your eyes, you can bring back. The day you can report that kind of a thing, 50% of your meditation task is achieved. So therefore, by listening and practicing and put your effort into this kind of a discourse, it won't take so much of years you to verify your capacity, you to verify the power of mindfulness under your very nose. Even though you are in such a position, if you are not reporting it, if you do not communicate it with others, your power of mindfulness is not so strong enough. So not only that you have to do it, but you have to appreciate it. You have to report it to someone. Then only you become galvanized, you become reinforced with the mindfulness, and you are ready to go forward. To give little more examples, something like hearing, when you are doing sitting meditation, when you are doing walking meditation, often there may be some external sounds, and mind may jump into the sound without a prior notice. But if you are smart enough, if you have enough experience, the Buddha says it is very gross someone to understand my mind is not with the leg but with the ear. And he understands it is not someone doing it is something conditional. Mind is jumping. And it is due to the rising and dependent arising, and that is how the senses are working, that is how the faculties are working. So therefore, if you are sharp enough, not to regret, but to understand the situation, mind is eccentric, not in the primary object, but in the hearing. The Buddha says, just like a snap your fingers so quickly from sound, from the eccentric mind, you can come back to your primary object. Exactly like from the eye to the walking or sitting posture, from the sound itself, or from the sound also, you can come back. It is very exhilarating, very exciting experience one to understand how quickly you can bring it back to the sublime position, how quickly you can take it to the peaceful position, how quickly you can take it back to the equanimous position. So otherwise, how quickly you can be or you can feel at home situation. So never too late. Whether you are a very old person or young person, whether you heard today or 2 years before, whether you are attracted to very, very beautiful sound or normal sound, never too late. Moment you get the idea and do it, it is electric. That is called akalika. It never takes time. Moment you take, you are the very first person to understand. Now mind is back to the mindful position. Sounds are there. Again it may come, never mind. But I can take it just like a snapping of my fingers. So likewise the Buddha gives very beautiful, very pragmatic examples. Whenever mind is jumping to the eye, it is like a winking of your lids, eyelids. Whenever mind jumping into sounds and bringing back is something like a snapping of your fingers. And whenever it is chasing behind the sound, it is like a drop of rainwater on a lotus flower or lotus petal or a leaf. Whenever shaking happens, the water drop will drop. It never smears. And whenever mind is jumping to something tasty, or your taste buds, it's just like spitting a little bit of saliva or the spittle. Quickly you can throw away this chasing behind mind towards the taste and bring it back to your mindfulness. And whenever it is chasing along your seeking comfortability, maybe you are thinking that better be at home because I have enough furniture that I can lie down very happily than in the meditation center. Or you think different comfort. What you can do is, instead you can bring the attention back to your primary object, just like stretching your arm or bending your arm like. A powerful person or middle-aged person with normal health, easily at his will, he can bend the arm or stretch the arm. Likewise, whenever mind is chasing, if the mind is chasing behind the seeking comfortability, instead of your posture, maintenance of walking posture or sitting posture, whenever you come to know under your very nose, easily you will bring it back. And when it is daydreaming, fantasizing, and bewilderment in the mind, you have to understand on the spot, mind is no more mindful on your primary object. It has jumped into thinking, and if you are not worrying about this action, easily you can bring it back to your verifiable left leg and the right leg, or in breath and out breath, just like drop of water fallen upon a red hot plate of iron. Even the drop is falling slowly, soon it touches the red hot iron, it evaporates. So this is a kind of thing that you can verify, and there it is giving a very philosophically very big change to your thinking. Otherwise you always feel you are inferior. I can't meditate because there are visual objects. I can't meditate because there are sounds. I can't meditate because there are smells. I can't meditate because there are tasting objects. I can't meditate, I don't have enough comfort. I can't meditate, mind is not loving. Mind is fantasizing, storytelling. So this is true for a beginner, but you are listening to the teaching of the Buddha, the noble teaching, supreme teaching. One day you feel like trajectory. So this is very adventurous. This is very radical someone to do it. and there's a radical change in your thinking, in your personality, in your liking and disliking, and you feel like sharing with others. Because it is something appear like your own achievement. So when and where you train this kind of mindfulness, where the mindfulness with diversification, the Buddha predict and give you assurance, no sooner when mind will feel ashamed, like moral shame and the moral fear, it repels like from the external object. No sooner it goes to the external object, there may be a sixth sense to say something wrong somewhere. Earlier it takes longer time for you to understand you are eccentric, you are not mindful, that you have to excuse. But when and where you develop, you proceed, if a child is going to put his finger into open fire, no sooner he will understand the damage. Likewise, the repellence, kind of a repelling idea or quality happen in your mind, or you feel humiliated. I came to a meditation center, I took 8 precepts, I vowed, I determined to keep my mind with the left leg and the right leg, but still, the mind is jumping, shamelessly. So you feel humiliated and feel like correcting it. Soon you come to know. There is no second person involved. This is your own observation. Mind is coming back. Just like when you are, if you are going to give a shock to a hanging magnet, it will shake. Ultimately, naturally, it goes towards the north. That's the nature of the magnet, not like a piece of iron. So likewise, whenever your mind comes to know, now I am no more mindful, maybe due to visual object or sound or smell or taste, whatever may be, soon it goes kind of a humiliation can happen, or you feel disgusted. It is not something you do, the nature of the mind. That's why I mentioned yesterday, our mind is naturally good. If you give the opportunity, keep the two opportunities equal, mind naturally get the good course. If you are not practicing with the due theory, always you find fault with your mind, telling mind is very cussed. Always going to the defilements, always going to the agreeability and disagreeability. So therefore I can't do meditation in this dispensation. Better to wait till the next Buddha to come, or to go to India, or to go to another Himalayas, or something like that. You make 1001 excuses because you have not verified, tested your power of mindfulness. When it's slowly developing, Attiyati, Harayati, Jagucchati, that is the terms Buddha is using. That all the 3 terms comes under one particular term known as na ichchati. I don't like, I do not wish my mind to go out. Whenever I comes to know, I will bring it back to my peaceful object. So na ichchati is being declined according to the grammar, anicchati. Na ichchati is anicchati. So whenever you are reading the scriptures, there are 2 anicchas. One thing is something not permanent, that is also called anicca. That is changing in shape, we call anicca. Here it is anicca, na ichchati. You don't like it. So these two terms are appearing sometimes as synonyms. It's a great mistake in our commentaries. The Theravada commentaries utterly got mixed up. So under light of this course, you have to understand, whenever you are practicing, one day you will understand, mind itself become morally shame and fearful regarding jumping into seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching. You develop kind of a disgusted feeling. It's called na ichcha. Ichchati means agreeable, happy. Na ichchati means you are not happy, disgusted. So these terms only come into being in the proper light when you are meditating. Scholastically you can learn. Whatever you are learning, you have no verifiable direct experience, so therefore you may be carried away by wrong interpretations. So here in the what do you call this, Indriya Bhavana Sutta, they very clearly put the use anicca, na ichchati. And once that situation passed, that means you are a very engaged meditator, we can say advancing meditator, so you have to take enough time, let the mind to play in its own accord, and when and where it is jumping from the primary object, you may develop kind of a sense, sixth sense to understand something from somewhere. Not necessarily in the sitting meditation, not necessarily in the walking meditation, even in your day-to-day activities. Soon or no sooner you understand, the mind will calculate the way back home. The calculation of the way back home is known as resilience. So Richard Davidson, doing the neuroscience, he says some people are naturally called resilience characters. They even regrettable thing happen or enjoyable thing happen, he or she is not much entertaining there, easily mind can come back to the at-home situation. So this is the maturity of your meditation. Whatever may the distraction, how quickly you can come back. So the children now are with this mind jar. Mind jar you can shake and keep it on a place, and how quickly it can settle down. So mind also the same. Whatever the shaky nature, this glitter naturally settle down. So in meditation, when you see any person come and disturb me, any visual object, sound, anything can do, but don't worry about the finding fault with that external thing. See how quickly I can settle down. So very beautiful thing or irony is, to settle down you have to do nothing. If you do anything, settling down will be disturbed. So shake the bottle, keep it on your hand or keep it in the desk and it is settling down. It's a nature. Once you verified it, you will understand meditation means doing nothing. That's the most difficult thing. Anything you are going to do, it is agitating. So this is not true for the beginner. Beginner, there is something to do. Beginner has to invest something. Beginner has to have energy. And whenever mind is ready toward the resilience, to how to tackle with distractions, visual, sound, olfactory, taste, touch, and the mind objects. If you are going to think, I can only meditate when there are no distractions, you have to simply die. The world is full of distraction. No one can do it. You can make a soundproof wall. You can make all kind of things, but your bloody mind, always searching something to get agitated. So therefore, not that I am telling that you have to go to the Times Square to do meditation. I am telling you better start in a somewhat comfortable place, but don't expect perfection. Don't expect theoretical maximum for conducive conditions, because you have this capacity, or the mindfulness is having this capacity. More and more you develop, you know how quickly you can come back. So, whenever you are reporting, for example in interviews, whenever you are reporting that distractions, if you can add what was the end of the distraction. Beginning of the distraction is dirty. It's a defeat. It is not to be appreciated. But each and every distraction is having an end. End means mind is back towards your primary object. Mind is back to the peaceful state. Mind is back to the sublime state. Mind is back to the equanimous state. So if you can trace only that, you will be a positive thinker. Otherwise your report will be full of complaints, like a charge sheet. Telling I can't meditate, the other person is coughing. I can't meditate, this person is banging the door. I can't meditate, climate is too hot. I can't meditate this and that, and so much of things. It is true. It is true for the beginner, but when and where you are practicing, one day you will understand they are really acid tests. Yesterday I can't meditate due to the cough, but today I manage by coughing. Still, I can see the way back home, but still I can't meditate while the bang in the door. I can't meditate when the air conditioner is working. So much of things. So day by day you can see your threshold is increasing, and it is a natural evolution if you keep the track of it. To keep the track, best I found is better to report as and when it happens to your teacher or to a senior meditator. Yesterday I was complaining this as a distraction. Today I just manage to see that at the end of the distraction, once I came back to the peaceful object. Again it may distract, no problem. But you cut through. That I call seeing through the distraction. Go through the distraction. At the beginning you may tackle with slight distractions. Whenever meditation increases, whenever the mindfulness gather momentum, fairly you can see through, you can go through somewhat medium kind of distractions. So the final test, the Olympic test is at the deathbed while you are dying. Can you still be mindful? You are losing everything. You know now 2 breaths time I am going to die. But still you can be mindful. The Buddha mentioned it to his own son Rahula. Rahula, when you are attentive to your breath, whenever attentive to the disappearance of the breath, and once you develop the mastery, you can be attentive to your last disappearing breath, that is called death. Charimaka passasapi janatova nirujjanti. You know now 1 breath time I am going to die. This is the disappearance of the breath. You can be very calm, very sublime, very peacefully see breath is disappearing. This is the Olympic test. Before that you have to win little tests under all the kind of distractions. So this world is it's a full-fledged laboratory. It gives enough challenges. It gives enough tests. So meanwhile you must know how to continue with this tactic of mindfulness without complaining outside. Not I am telling that you are searching and going to the distraction. But you have to select a suitable place, that is sure. But even then, don't expect there will be a situation, there is no distraction, everyone will be conducive for meditation. I have been practicing 40 years now. I have traveled so many places. People have invested so much on meditation centers. Still the distractions are there. So how much you can go through them, how much you can see through them, so you can see two people never equal. So that is why Richard Davidson, he found there is a character, the resilience character. Some people, even shaken and even distracted, very quickly come back to your norm, very quickly come back to your benchmark, very quickly you can come back to the pivotal point, very quickly come back at home situation, so they can restart the work continuously. So imagine if you are teaching this kind of a thing to a child, he may be distracted. Then soon you have to understand, at the end of the distraction, darling, you can come back to the normal mindfulness, then start your studies. After becoming sick, after becoming this and that distraction, mind is natural to come back. That is called plasticity of the mind. Whatever the damage you are going to do the mind, it is healing by itself. If you are going to treat, your healing will be less. If you are not treating anything, mind naturally come back to the healthy situation. So this is what we call the benefit of your meditation to your day-to-day life. So to say, study or health. So due to fear, if you are going to interfere this situation, the way back home will be much, much, much longer. If you are believing your own meditation, if you are believing your mental power, if you are believing the cause and effect relationship, it is equally treating everyone. It's very democratic. No discrimination among poor people or rich people. Male versus female, nothing. So therefore it is called, as I mentioned yesterday, it's a potential. It's a possibility. You have equal with others, but if you are not implementing it, if you are not catalyzing it, you are going to end up with a very wretched, sorrow, fearful death. Each and every distraction, each and every danger, killing you 1001 times within a day. When and where you are developing your immunity, the way back home kind of this thing, each and every reinforce you, reiterating the power of mindfulness. So you will develop a way of life, not to complain about the distraction, but I am not asking you to go to the distraction for the third time. But when the distraction happens, put it in a constructive way, how quickly I can recover. I can come back to my posture. Not necessarily in the sitting or walking. And the last step the Buddha explained in this particular sutta is, whenever you take this as a challenge and going to practice mindfulness in the diverse situation or diversified mindfulness, you never lose a chance. Each and every time you see how quickly you can come back. So much so, the torturing nature, inflicting nature of the distraction will be reduced. If your mind is vulnerable, distraction becomes very amplified. You will be carried away for a long trip. But more and more you develop mindfulness in this development of faculty, the supreme way of development of faculty or cultivation of faculties, daily you can understand distractions are there, but they are inflicting nature, suffering nature, burning nature will be reduced. But the Buddha himself mentioned, you can't feel that reduction of the inflicting nature. Unless otherwise you are so much sharp. Day by day you are carried away the strength. going away will be reduced. Will be more towards the center of feelings rather than the extreme agreeability and disagreeability. That means you love, you respect your primary object as a pivot, primary object as the benchmark, temporary benchmark. Whatever it happens, you know where to bring the attention. For example, if this building is going to get under fire, before entering into the building, you must know where is the gathering place. Ground where, when the fire happens, where to run. So it is a must in a dry zone countries. Each and every building must have a gathering ground. So when a fire happens, don't worry about the rescuing, just run to there and count the number. So your primary object is this gathering place. Whenever distraction happens, don't worry about other things, just go back to your primary object. So that means primary object becomes your guideline, your benchmark, your pivotal point. And it must be all the time. Whatever the distraction happens, you must respect it. This is the point where we have our gathering ground. So if there is no such a thing, you will be utterly scattered. You will be running up and down, you don't know where to go. So that is what happens. Whenever a disease happens or bombing blasting happens or anything happens, people are running scattered. They don't know what to do. But exactly the same in our mind. If you are not mindful, if you do not know our reference point, whenever calamity, restless situation happen, you have to keep the mind. And the other disadvantageous situation is, you can learn that kind of art when the fire already start catching. These things must be given as the familiarization program. In case this plane is going to crash landing, this must be your outdoor. In case this building is going to catch fire, this is our gathering ground. You can't teach it once it catch fire. So that is why the preventive part of mindfulness, not the therapeutic part, not the healing part. Of course, healing and therapeutic is fairly a good proportion of benefits of mindfulness. But the core teaching of the Buddha is addressing to the prevention. So each and every of us must know what's the meaning of mindfulness. What is the benefit of mindfulness? Before the danger happens, before the uncontrollable situation happens. But whenever someone is going to teach mindfulness on the preventive way, very few people get interest. But they will be happy and running whenever therapeutic thing happen or whenever situation become physically or mentally upset. They will run chasing behind the mindfulness. They are ready to pay any amount. And there is a organization to catch you fellows and earn money, billions. But the preventive part, very innocent. It's very straightforward. So take time, daily 5 minutes or daily 10 minutes. Try to be mindful. And definitely sounds may come. Definitely visual objects may happen. Definitely pains may happen. Amidst of all the kind of thing, how quickly I can bring the better attention back to the posture or whatever may be your appointed primary object. Slowly, the Buddha says, the inflicting nature of the outside distractions, the torturing nature of the outside distraction, burning nature of the outside distraction will be reduced. Something like if you know you are going to go to a place where there is the contagious diseases, the government will announce these places are infested, don't go there. But imagine if you are going with a vaccine, then nothing to worry. You know vaccine is making antibodies, and when you go there, even it is contacted, nothing will happen. Exactly the way when you are mindful, there is no fear. You know, other people are definitely vulnerable and succumb. And I know my mindfulness to somewhat better than unmindful person. So this kind of a thing, it's a endowment of the human mind. It's a blessing in the evolution, the human mind, each and every individual. So the question is whether this is limited to the Buddhists or whether we can share with all human beings. So present day, maybe America is in a leading position. They are about to see, and they are talking about what are the side effects and after effects of mindfulness. If you are going to practice mindfulness, are there any side effects? Are there any after effects? So at the beginning they unanimously told there are no side effects. There are no after effects. But now here and there research articles are there. Whenever people are going to use mindfulness only in therapeutic way, only in the preventive way, there may be some problems. There may be some mental agitations. There may be some physical agitation. But I am waiting and I am observing, if you are doing it in a preventive way, there won't be any complaint. There cannot be, theoretically cannot be, philosophically there cannot be. So therefore, if you wish to have mental and physical health, you can take a little time and practice and see how quickly from the mind agitated to come back to your primary object. How quickly you can teach your children. How quickly you can give the message to your friends, dear and near ones. And I found the accepting of this teaching and putting into practice and gaining the results, never depending on any other discrete or any other sectarianism. Each and everyone have the equal potential. But hardly any person take it seriously. Very difficult to overemphasize it. So we must be happy, at least we have spent 1 or 2 days try to introduce mindfulness, and luckily or unluckily a lot of distractions were there, and there were some occasions we can still, amidst of the distraction, bring back. Some people can, after brought, keep on mindful with the primary object. Some people, again, the distraction may happen. Whatever it may be, you are on the way back home. There is a Zen teaching, Zen saying is there. Wherever you may be, you are on the way back home. So once the mindfulness is introduced, always you are putting into practice and gaining. So it is ever catching the momentum. But in the end, the Buddha says, once you develop full-fledged mindfulness, even agreeable thing happen, of course by the social norm, by the convention it's agreeable, you can look it, you can perceive it as disagreeable. Even a disagreeable thing happen, if you wish, you can perceive as agreeable. Even disagreeable and the intermediate thing happen, if you wish, you can see as agreeable, if you think as the disagreeable. That means not the external object is deciding, your mind is deciding. Your mind can decide to take it in an advantageous way. Whatever it happens, you know how to put it in, take it into an advantageous situation. During the time of the Buddha, there was a rule. The monks, when they are going on Pindapata, alms rounds, they must not look into the this and that, specifically to the beautiful females. Usually you will be distracted. So therefore it's a sign, you look around 2 meters ahead and you walk. And there is one monk, Nagasamala, namely Nagasamala, when he was going there, in the dark, in the midst of the white day opening, one girl is dancing. It's singing, playing musical instruments, drunkard, fully make up. Immediately he found a lot of people gathered around and looking at this, the free show. This Venerable Nagasamala, instead of the other people, he looked at it and he saw how much people develop the defilements by looking and waiting in this free show. Seeing and understanding that, he develops so much of urge. They appear like a blessing. The one girl is dancing in the street and beautifully singing, dancing, and people are stopping everything and just waiting, and how much defilements are rising. So he developed not the agreeability. He looked, see the other way around. Immediately it was enough for him to have a breakthrough and got a remarkable knowledge and enlightenment. So thing happening outside is not so good for a monk, but for the sensuous being it will be a very good thing. The monk is thinking, by entertaining this kind of thing, so much of defilement. So this kind of a radical thinking, the agreeable thing, he sees as a disagreeable. So likewise, your perception can change so quickly. If you have been in Sri Lanka and Canada, India, there may be a lot of carcasses of the animals and kind of thing on the road. And if you see a crocodile, or if you see an alligator, it's a very good delicacy for them. But for us, it's very awful, bad smelling. We may find fault with the municipal council that is not removed. But if the alligator comes to happen, it will entertain it so as a delicacy. Because for the alligator, it's a very beautiful thing, very agreeable thing. But for we human being, we don't like it. So likewise, the thing is the thing that your perception, they don't think perception is a permanent. It's so quickly you can change, but if you have steadfast mindfulness, it is not the here and there mindfulness, it must be steadfast. If it is so, you can see things as agreeable or disagreeable, sometimes it is pleasurable and painful. It depends on your perception rather than the object itself. Otherwise, as the Uttaramanavaka, the first person helped this story, as he says, best thing is to not to look, best thing is to not to hear, best thing is to not to smell. Then the Buddha says, if it is so, born blind person will be advantageous, a deaf person will be advantageous. This is the way people think, but the supreme way the Buddha is teaching, it is not looking by pictures, not hearing the sound you are going to enlighten. You have to, while seeing, how to maintain your stream of consciousness, how to tightrope walking like, how to keep the mindfulness in your primary object. Ultimately the inflicting nature of the external thing will be reduced. You can interpret as you like. So it is called Arhat Vikurvana. Whatever the thing happen, he or she can get what is the necessary perception than the conventional thing. So this is the Buddha, this is the way the Buddha is mentioning. If you are developing mindfulness, here I indicate 3 stages, slowly, immunity or the personality is increasing. The inflicting power of the external stimuli slowly reducing. So if that is understood, and if you are really confronting the case rather than escapism, rather than postponing, each and every thought moment is decisive. It is called Khana Sampatti, the opportunity. Each and every thought moment is very important, but the gathering the momentum, the constellation, the preparedness of the proximate factors and supportive thing, you must be opportunist. Whenever time happens, don't worry whether you are in a meditation center or at home, whether you are in walking and sitting meditation. You must be prepared to face the situation and to understand how to make use of the opportunity. Opportunity is always there for a wise person. So, if you know, if there's a will, there's a will. If you do not have enough will, we find fault with the teachers, we find fault with the methods, and we find fault with the religious centers and all the kind of thing, because our will is not there. We have not seen the thing as it is, so it is gradually developing. Don't expect that to happen overnight. Don't expect that to happen by listening to one single talk. But we are on the way, developing slowly. So you have to facilitate it, you have to feed it, you have to fertilize it by making use each and every thought moment, each and every seeing, each and every hearing, smelling, tasting, touching and thinking. And you have to have a mindfulness as a mirror. Through the mindfulness also you must look into normal seeing, hearing kind of thing. Then one day you will understand how to see through them, and there onward all the impediments you have listed so far no more becoming impediments. They are not going to inflict you. Infliction, if at all happening, because of our weakness of my mind, not to attribute to the outside. So this is the way you reinforce your personality rather than finding fault with others. Otherwise you will be ever blaming the government. You will be ever blaming the climate. You will be ever blaming the food. You will be ever blaming your family members, thinking they are the impediments for the development. That is not the case. It is true for the beginners, but when the Indriya Bhavana is developing, slowly you can understand how our mind is gathering the momentum. So therefore trust upon, depend upon your own trial and error rather than blessing from the outside, escapism. They are useless things. So therefore I am going to sum up the talk with this remark. Please trust your own faculties. There are two kinds of faculties. One thing is eye, ear, nose, tongue and the body called as faculties. And spiritually, the faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom also known as faculties. So you have to specify there. So what I am referring here is, whatever the faith you have, whatever the energy you put forth, whatever the mindfulness you have developed, whatever the concentration you have already gained, whatever the wisdom you have, utterly enough for the game. Trust upon them and look forward. It is, put it this way, don't try, but strive. You are in the correct path, strive through. With that remark, I would like to sum up the day's talk and the series of talks. Thank you very much for listening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So today being the last day, if you have any question or any criticism or any statements, welcome.
So I have a question. When you are meditating, especially like Jnana, if you were to suddenly wake up or stop and for whatever reason, maybe distracted or whatever, it doesn't feel right. Why is that? It doesn't sometimes make you almost like dizzy.
That means while you are meditating, you are calm and collected, all of a sudden you wake up.
Yeah, so you are trying to develop the sati,
yeah,
and then something happens and then say somebody drops something,
yeah,
and then you open your eyes. Then, so even stopping the meditation, if you do it slowly, it doesn't happen. But if you try to bring back the ideas to focus on the environment and everything, slowly, it doesn't happen. But if you stop it suddenly and open your eyes, it makes it almost like this.
So it is something happened. Now what is the question?
So why does that happen?
No, meditators never ask why. It's a destructive question. Krishnamurti says, the worst question you ask. What you have to ask is, how can I adapt into that? Why you have to ask from the Creator God? We have no rights to ask why. Only thing is, what next? How can I adapt into this situation? That is just like Boy Scout, improvisation, impromptu. Now I have already shaken and awakened up, but nothing happened. Again, you can come back to your sitting posture. If you are sitting, you can be aware that you are not walking now, you are not standing, you are not lying down and sitting. Still again you can start like a beginner. And again you may go to the same kind of depth of the concentration if you are not worrying about what happened and why it is happening. The why question never give any constructive answer. It is a destructive question. And that is the way people start whenever something happens. Why? Then you are not worrying about what is the next, what can I do. So the simple answer, beautiful answer is, again start like a beginner. Beginner's mind. Everything scattered. I am sitting. And again you try to focus the attention, your sitting posture. To see it, I am not walking, I am not lying down, I am not standing, I am sitting down. And immediately you amazing to hear, few seconds time you may be back to the same kind of peace. Just like a mind jar. Shake vigorously and just keep it. Whether you shake little or vigorously, settling down is equal. We never believe that settling down part of our mind. Recently one person tried to explain, you know the chaos theory?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So chaos means the world is in a chaotic. When something goes wrong, it comes back to the normal chaos. It is the nature. It is not the government, it is not the policy makers, that it comes. You just wait. The mind is utter chaotic. Not a single disciplined person on the earth. They are just camouflage. So knowing that, let the mind to run as it is, just give him the chance. It will come back to the norm. I am not telling the exactly theoretical maximum. It will come back. This is called chaotic theory. Anything can lead you to anything. So that's the biggest theory in the maths, but it's utter foolish theory. Anything can lead you to anything. So the world is running, we have nothing to worry about why it is happening. Only thing is how quickly come back at home situation. It's an endowment. Under any circumstances, there's nothing preventing you to come back, just like a split, just like a snap. Just like a winking of your eyes, just like a stretching and bending your arms, come back. Imagine when the Angulimala is chasing behind the Buddha. He was about to cut, about to kill even his mother. And he has been killed regiments of armies. But what the Buddha mentioned was, are you stop? Can you stop? No any big sermons. I stopped. So Angulimala was thinking that he is walking so faster than me, I am chasing. But he says stop. He asked me to stop. He got the message. I am advanced in chasing behind, but I don't know how to stop. But it's a capacity, it's a endowment. Each and every human being, if they wish to stop, they can stop. But we are in the man-made machine. We are just a cog in the cogwheel. We are rotating like anything. We don't know how to stop it. So to be stopped must be here, now, I am. That is what you call solitude. When you become solitude, you are not answerable to any society. Go to a forest, sit under a tree, or go to a silent place, finished. I heard recently in Russia, there was a symposium and there's a conference to see how to stop AIDS. One guy from Sri Lanka went there and told, if you are not doing sexual intercourse, no AIDS. 5 precepts. And his paper came the first. All the others are taking how to kill the AIDS virus and blah, blah, blah. Don't do. Maintain your, don't do sexual intercourse. Finished. So like that, there are very shortcuts. The Buddha has explained so quickly, but people are going right round and try to catch it. But you can directly touch it. Then stop. This is the question, because we are living in a civilized society. So we are just follow society blindly without knowing that we can stop at our own level. That's our human right. Wherever you may be, you can start like a beginner. No one can stop you. I have been in a very complicated atmosphere, business as well as the cooperative sector. Still I try to maintain mindfulness. No one knows. That's the beauty of it. No one knows. I managed. People are with full of frustration and all the kinds. In my case, nothing, because I don't care. I ask, what's the next? How quickly come back to the normal and start like that. Don't worry about the injustice and kind of thing happen. What's the next? So that I call the management technique. If you know that the priority, you are the best manager. You are not worrying about what happened. You are worrying what is the next to bring the situation under normal, or bring the mindfulness to your posture. There's no impediment. There's no blocking thing. Okay, we'll go for walking meditation, and at 7:30 we start another sitting. You are ready to walking? How many minutes? How many steps you can keep? Right, left, right, left. Huh? 30. Ayya. How many steps you can mindfully walk? 15. So this time you are going to test again. And when you are reaching 15, be aware now mind is going to jump. Mind goes, so you have to keep one more step. 16th step. Malli is with the 13th and 14th step. So likewise you have to increase the number of steps. In sitting, how do you feel? You feel like sitting? You feel the breathing? No? 5 breaths. How do you know? How do you know your mind is with the breath? How can you verify? With what evidence? With what touch? With what kind of experience you can say you are in the breath? Malli? Any witness? How do you know that you are in the breath?
Are you breathing now?
Mind is not with the sound, mind is not with the seeing, but with the breath. How do you know? How do you verify? How do you experience? Where do you experience the breath? The nostril, or here, or belly, or in the throat? Where? Am I too much asking too much of question? Because that even these elderly people you ask, no one knows. You are worse than you. I am not even asking from them because useless. So when I am asking young children, at least they will try and they will give a genuine effort. You ask them how much they are in the breath and how do they verify? No one can answer. So tomorrow you have to go to the children, you have to teach them and you have to verify them. You have to take this mind jar and explain them. Ready? So that is why today we brought you here to give a little bit of training, and tomorrow we are going to give as a teacher, as a facilitator, to teach children. This is the way you have to walk, this is the way you have to sit, and this is the way the mind jar is working. Did you see the mind jar video, the YouTube? No. We can run the YouTube page. මොනවාද YouTube ගිහිල්ලා මයින් ජා කියලා ගැහුවොත් අපේ එක නෙවෙයි තියෙන්නේ ඒක. ඒ Wi-Fi තියෙනවද නැහැ නේද? මේ තියෙනවනේ. Wi-Fi තියෙනව නේද මේ හරියට? Wi-Fi. මේක තියෙන බුද්ධ කියන කෙනාද කියලා බලන්න. බුද්ධ ඩොමේන් එක.
Samadhi English word is concentration.
Calmness කියලා කියනවා. Sometimes called calm or concentration. To both terms, satya, mindfulness, awareness, both. Okay. Even terminology, it's synonyms. The same. Calmness and the concentration both are referred to the one mental concomitant. The awareness and the mindfulness are not referred to as to sati. So they are two names as such.
But
so you are asking difference between the mindfulness and the concentration, or?
Yes.
The mindfulness is directing to the present moment. The calmness is settling down the mind. One-pointedness, calming down. So mindfulness is the proximate factor for the calmness to happen. Whenever you are mindful, calmness is just endowment. You have nothing to worry.